Hi. We last left off our hero Lucifer on the floor of hell. Actually, they were cast out of heaven and they landed in this burning lake of fire. And they floated there for a while and tried to figure out what the hell just happened to them. And Lucifer swam to shore and gave this speech to them, which concluded with this famous passage: "The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven." And then at the end he says, "To reign is worth ambition, though in hell. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." That's where we left it. So he's continuing to speak. "But wherefore let we then our faithful friends, the associates and co-partners of our loss, lie thus astonished on the oblivious pool, and call them not to share with us their part in this unhappy mansion, or once more with rallied arms to try what may be yet regained in heaven, or what more lost in hell?" So Satan spake, and him Beelzebub thus answered: "Leader of those armies bright, which but the omnipotent none could have foiled, if once they hear that voice, their liveliest pledge of hope in fears and dangers, heard so oft in worse extremes, and on the perilous edge of battle when it raged, in all assaults their surest signals, they will soon resume new courage and revive, though now they lie groveling and prostrate on yon lake of fire, as we erewhile astounded and amazed no wonder fall in such a pernicious height." He scarce had ceased when the superior fiend was moving toward the shore, his ponderous shield, ethereal temper, massy, large, and round, behind him cast. The broad circumference hung on his shoulders like the moon, whose orb through optic glass the Tuscan artist views at evening from the top of Fiesole, or in Valdarno, to descry new lands, rivers, or mountains in her spotty globe. He's talking about Galileo there, the Tuscan artist. "His spear to equal, which the tallest pine, hewn on Norwegian hills to be the mast on some great amiral, were but a wand he walked with to support uneasy steps over the burning marl, not like those steps on heaven's azure, and the torrid clime smote on him sore, besides vaulted with fire. Nonetheless he so endured, till on the beach of that inflamed sea he stood, and called his legions, angel forms who lay entranced, thick as autumnal leaves that strew the books in Vallombrosa, where the Etrurian shades high overarched embower, or scattered sedge afloat, when with fierce winds Orion armed hath vexed the Red Sea coast, whose waves overthrew Busiris and his Memphian cavalry, while with perfidious hatred they pursued the sojourners of Goshen, who beheld from the safe shore their floating carcasses and broken chariot wheels, so thick bestrewn, abject and lost lay these, covering the flood under amazement of their hideous change. He called so loud that all the hollow deep of hell resounded. Princes, potentates, warriors, the flower of heaven, once yours, now lost. If such astonishment as this can seize eternal spirits, or have ye chosen this place, after the toil of battle, to repose your varied virtue, for the ease you find to slumber here, as in the vales of heaven? Or in this abject posture have ye sworn to adore the conqueror, who now beholds cherub and seraph rolling in the flood with scattered arms and ensigns, till anon his swift pursuers from heaven gates discern the advantage, and descending tread us down, thus drooping, or with linked thunderbolts transfix us to the bottom of this gulf? Awake, arise, or be ever fallen." They heard and were abashed, and up they sprung upon the wing, as when men want to catch on duty, sleeping found by whom they dread, rouse and bestir themselves ere well awake. Nor did they not perceive the evil plight in which they were, or the fierce pains not feel. Yet to their general's voice they soon obeyed, innumerable as when the potent rod of Amram's son in Egypt's evil day waved round the coast, upcalled a pitchy cloud of locusts, warping on the east wind that over the realm of impious Pharaoh hung like dark, and darkened all the land of Nile. So numberless were those bad angels, seen hovering on wind under the cope of hell, twixt upper, nether, and surrounding fires, till at a signal given, the uplifted spear of their great Sultan, waving to direct their course, and in even balance down they light on the firm brimstone, and fill all the plain. A multitude, like which the populous north poured never from her frozen loins to pass Rhine or Danau, when her barbarous sons came like a deluge on the south, and spread beneath Gibraltar to the Libyan sands. Forthwith from every squadron and each band, the heads and leaders thither haste, where stood their great commander, godlike shapes and forms, excelling human, princely dignities, and powers that erst in heaven sat on thrones, though of their names in heavenly records now be no memorial, blotted out and razed by their rebellion from the book of life. Nor had they yet among the sons of Eve got them new names, till wandering over the earth through God's high sufferance for the trial of man, by falsities and lies, the greatest part of mankind they corrupted to forsake God, their Creator, and the invisible glory of Him that made them to transform off to the image of a brute, adorned with gay religions, full of pomp and gold, and devils to adore for deities. Then they were known to men by various names and various idols through the heathen world. So this is the description of the armies coming up out of the burning lake or flying up into the air. And he likens their movements actually to the Israelites coming out of the water and the Pharaoh. And they talk about Amram's son, who's Moses. So there's this weird conference between the two. And then they're going to be retconned into the deities of the polytheistic deities, the pantheon of the neighboring lands of the Middle East. He's saying that they went into the world, into the brute, that they transformed into the image of the brute, adorned with the gay religions, full of pomp and gold, meaning like they are going to become all of these different figures, Zeus or whoever, that those were actually all the fallen angels, that they would take these new names, they would be known by these names in order to corrupt people. So what comes next is a roll call of all the different figures of hell that are there. So, okay, Paradise Lost.